Hello there, YouTube. So today I'm doing another speed build, and I'm building this little tranquil pond oasis where I can go and relax every time real life just becomes a little bit too much. But today I'm not actually going to be talking about the build you're watching, but instead I'll be telling the story of the Angry Butterman. So a little bit of some backstory and context. I work at the local grocery store, and every week we have different sales on everyday items. So this one week we had a sale on butter, and it was like, I don't know, $1.25 per stick. I'm no expert on like butter pricing in other countries, but that was pretty cheap where I live. Anyways, back to the Butterman. So there's this older man, not ancient, just like 55 plus-ish, and I've seen him in the store a few times before, so he's definitely a local. And he always wears this face where you can almost just taste how bitter and angry he is at everything, just life in general, just by looking at his sour expression. But you know, for the most part, he doesn't say much. He just scowls and walks through the store without bothering anyone, except for the few unfortunate people who dare make eye contact with his sour face. But you know, otherwise fairly harmless. But not on that day. No, that day he was ready to take all this pent-up frustration about his own miserable existence out on the next individual who was daring enough to speak to him. And you know, since I was standing at the checkout that day, that daring individual just so happened to be none other than me. So this man comes to the checkout, and right as I'm about to ring up his total, he starts talking to me. And he says, "You have no butter left in your store." And this is a bit of an odd statement because I know we have lots of butter in the store, but then I realize he must be talking specifically about the butter on sale since that had sold out a few hours ago and we had other customers ask about it. So I just tell him, "Yes, I'm sorry sir, but that unfortunately sold out a few hours ago." And he just goes, "Well, why don't you order enough for all your customers?" And in my mind, I'm like, I'm just some 20-year-old cashier. Like, what do you want me to do? But I still answer him politely. "Again, sir, I'm sorry. I have no control or influence on what we ordered to the store." And it is immediately clear that these answers are not sufficient to satisfy this angry man. And he starts raising his voice. He tells me, "Well, you might not be capable of doing anything, but can't you talk to someone who can do something about it?" And in my mind, I'm just thinking like, not really, because I'm the only quote-unquote adult in the store right now, but I just tell him, "Sure." And at this point, he's almost shouting, "Good, go tell someone who is competent enough to do something about it, or I guess I will just have to write directly to the company." So I just say, "Sure, I'll talk to someone." And this is where I probably make the biggest mistake because I decide to be truthful with him and say, "But I don't think it will make a difference." This man's anger, it goes immediately from fuming frustration to full-on furious volcano explosion on me. And I was about ready to start tearing up. But as the true professional that I am, I just kept a straight face, smiling and nodding at him. And this is where his monologue went from just being about butter and my sheer incompetence to now also being about the store's lack of options in the dog food aisle, where we, according to this man, apparently only sold one type of this one brand of dog food, even though we were advertising for multiple types, which he saw as a complete scam of our customers. So I just offered to go look on the shelf for him, and his reaction to my offer was just something like, "I know where the damn dog food is. Don't act like I'm the stupid one. What even is the point of keeping your store open this late if you have nothing on your shelves?" And you know, at this point, I was just completely baffled, speechless, and on the verge of tears. So I did the only logical thing there was left to do, which was just to ignore him and turn my face to the next customer and be like, "Hi, your total is $5.39. And somehow this worked in shutting up this man, and he just left the store in his usual bitter silence after packing up his things. And after he left, the other customers in queue were clearly just as shook up by this man's outburst as I were. And a nice lady even said like, "Hey, it's not your fault. This man was clearly just outrageous and didn't have any idea of how little influence you young people actually have." And later, when I went to tell the other employee what had happened, he just answered with with a blank stare in his eyes. Yeah, I met him in the dairy aisle. So I was clearly not the only one who had gotten an earful. And on my way back to the checkout, I strolled past the dog food aisle, and just out of curiosity, I inspected the place where the brand of dog food that the man wanted was. And lo and behold, this man was not just an angry Karen, but also a blind one, because there was clearly both types of dog food that we had advertised. So I guess the moral of the story is, don't be an angry butterman, and if you have to be a Karen, at least say yes when the employee offers to go look on the shelf for you, because you might just get both of the dog food types that you wanted. There is actually a second part to this story, and instead of teasing you with a like goal, because my channel is clearly nowhere big enough for me to do something like that, please subscribe if you're enjoying the video so far. Anyways, I'm just gonna tell you the second part now. A week or so had passed, and the man shows up again. Luckily, I'm not the one at the checkout this evening, and it is also a really quiet day, so there's not a lot of customers in the store. I take notice as soon as I see his scowling face walking through the store, and this time, I know to be vigilant. As he's finishing up his shopping, I make sure to stay close and pretend to have some important business on the shelves right next to the checkout, so I can be ready to jump in and help out the other employee if he were to explode again. So I hear the man starting to complain, and I look over in the direction of the checkout and am met by the begging eyes of the other employee, silently mimicking, "Please help me." So I walk over and say, "Hi, can I help?" And the man gets this victorious expression on his face like, finally, someone who will take me seriously. Clearly, he did not recognize me from a week ago. Lucky for me, I guess. Anyways, he waves me over to his cart and starts vigorously pointing at the cans of dog food in it. "Do you see these 4 cans?" he asks, and I'm just like, "Yes." "Do you see how they're all the same color?" And in my mind, I'm just wondering, how condescending can this man actually be? But I just answer, "Yes." And he starts, "Well, last week I was here, but I'm not about to take all his bull manure one more time." So I cut him off. "Oh, I remember you were the guy who was requesting the other color of cans of this dog food, right? Follow me, I'm pretty sure we have some on the shelf now." And I don't wait for him to answer, I just start walking with the biggest strides toward the dog food aisle. And on the way there, this man's mood just does a 180. He starts being all thankful, like, "Oh, I'm so glad someone remembered me, and that you also have the dog food now. It means a lot that you guys in the store actually listen to your customers." And in my mind, I'm just like, first of all, how could I possibly forget you when you were shouting at me? Like, I know you can't tell the difference between the employees, but I'm the same person from last week. And second of all, the dog food has been standing on this shelf this whole time. It's not a new shipment, it's the same from last week. But of course, I don't say any of this. I just smile and say, "I'm glad we could help you, sir. Have a nice day." And that's the end of the story of the Angry Butterman. All's well that ends well, right? But please, be nice to your local grocery store employees. And since you're still here, why not listen to my recommendation of this great video where I built some weird Minecraft houses with my friend Luna. Anyways, that was all I had for you today. Bye bye!